This video is a follow-on from the last video I made where I was building the bracket for the camera mounting arm. And in that video I was intending to actually build one of these as well, but that video went on for a little bit long and I thought I'd move this build into a separate video here. So I'm going to have a go at making one of these, and this one here I use on my lathe, and I did design the bracket on the mill to take the same arm, so I don't have to wait around building one of these before I can actually use the new brackets that I made on the mill. So this works absolutely fine on the mill as well, and it's a very good size, so I'm going to pretty much mirror it and just build the same type of thing. So this is a 10mm by 10mm square bar, or I think it's 3/8 square. It's got some small M4 bolts here. I don't actually have any M4 bolts, but I've got these M6 bolts, and I'm thinking, you know, that's maybe enough meat there to go through. Maybe I'll do a test on that. But I've got a whole bunch of those, so I already have the hardware there. And I was just going to make up these plates here. These are going to be made from 3mm flat bar. And I mentioned in the last video, this bar here slides up and down. That's fine, but I actually want it to rotate as well. So I'm going to make a mechanism here, sort of a friction fit part where, you know, you can turn it. It's quite firm, but it's still turnable. Because at the moment I have to reach up and unloosen the locking nut at the top, and then if I don't tighten it up properly it falls out. So I think the other option at the end of this bar is to put a thread and just put a nylock nut up there, so if it does come loose while I'm using the machine and it drops down, it doesn't actually fall out onto the floor and break the camera. In regards to the other end, I think this kind of works fine. Maybe this little clamp down here is not the best, so I might design something a little bit better here. And then of course I just put on the hardware that I have here. So let's get going. I got the plates all cut out and cleaned up, and as you saw there I've made duplicate plates as well, so there'll be one at the bottom and one goes onto the top there like that, and they're all bolted together with the M6 bolts and the nylocks, and I'll be able to make that as firm as I need for it to be quite stable yet still adjustable. So there's the little triangle bit for the front and this triangle bit for the back. So the next step will be to drill out these square bars to suit the M6 bolts and these plates, and then that kind of section is all done. And after that I want to work on the bar that goes into the holder that I've made, and as I mentioned before I wanted it to swivel here as well. So the plan I've come up with here is to drill a bit of a recess in these plates here and then put a 14.2mm ball bearing, so I think that's about 9/16, goes in there, and we weld it onto the end of this bar, and then that's going to allow this whole mechanism to rotate round on that pivot there. And to some degree it'll also give me a bit of flexibility to move it this way and sideways as well. The plates were all drilled, and I've mounted this all together now, and it works absolutely fantastic. So very nice. With these nylocks I can just adjust it to the tension that I need, but absolutely solid and sturdy. When you pick this thing up, it feels like it's aluminium. It's so light, you know, just hollow tubing in that one. So the next part I want to work on is this rod that comes out here, and the ball. So the plan was to weld the ball on the end of the rod there. So what I'll do is I'll put that in the lathe. I'll just put a center in there, and then that will fit in there right in the center, and I'll be able to weld it all the way around. The other thing I need to do is I sort of trace these parts out. So these parts are a little bit bigger than the originals. This one here, for some reason, is quite big around the edge here, which I don't need. So I might just trim that off, or grind it round or something as well, just to tidy that up. And when this ball and rod go in here, because I'm going to, from the inside, you know, put a bit of a countersink in there for the ball to fit in, and I'm probably going to put another bolt in this corner here somewhere, just so that you know, these bits of metal don't splay apart if there's any, you know, tension on it. So a bolt in there will keep everything nice and solid. That is an awesome vise, over 10 inches there. Easy to hold that part. I completed the, I guess, a type of ball and socket connection here, and it sort of works, but not as I expected. So, I mean, I left this part in the video because, I mean, this idea is probably good for certain applications, but I don't think it's going to work on this application very well, so I'm going to try a different idea. But basically, as you can see here, I have to wind this in quite a lot, and it sort of bends it in just to get enough pressure on that ball to stop it from moving. So, I mean, you know, the rotational movement around this way is fine, but it sort of moves this way too easily, which is the problem. because the camera then, you know, the weight of the arm, it's quite heavy, so even without a camera on the end of it, it just falls down. And I mean, I can really tighten this bolt here up really tight, but that's just gonna deform all of these plates and stuff. So I think I'll work on another solution here. Maybe a plate in here with a hole in it that can get bolted on, and then we'll have some sort of round knuckle thing that I can tighten up on this round bar here. So that is one end of the bracket all complete up here. I guess it was a bit of over engineering in the end, but I think it's come out a lot better than the sort of ball and socket joint. Definitely I can clamp this up here, and it's nice and firm, but I can still move it around, so it's a better design. I've also put a nut on the top here, and that's if I loosen this off and it drops down, it doesn't fall all the way through to the ground and end up breaking the camera. So the last part here is to work on the front here, and basically all we need at this end here is just a bar that sticks out with a quarter 20 I think thread on it to screw into the the holder, and maybe there's a bolt that goes through here and it just sort of pivots so it can have some sort of travel like that. And then of course the ball joint on the holder will be able to give it more flexibility and movement. I've got the arm all assembled here, and it works really well. So a lot of options and movement there. You saw in the last video at the top here, I can swing the whole mechanism around and get right round the whole mill, and it's basically pivoting around about where the center of the spindle is, so gets you even on both sides. There's a little bit here at the front where the camera bolts on, or the little ball joint bolts on here. So I initially made it a 10mm by 10mm square bar with a thread on it, and then I thought that was not correct, so I made another 10mm by 10mm square bar with a thread inside it. And then when I came to assemble it, as you saw in the video there, it had the wrong part on, so I've blued up these other parts that I made, and that's all fitted on there really well now. So you would have seen on the table I had a big board with a bunch of these bars and stuff on it. I actually made 2 of these up so that I can use one on the welding table as well. So if I'm making one, I just make double the parts and make two at the same time, so it'll be more efficient. And then I'll, up the top, you might not be able to see it in the video, but I'll make another sort of rig where it can be rotated round in a similar fashion to this one. So once again, thanks for coming along and watching the video, and you know, if you want to see more videos, subscribe and you'll get notified when I make more videos. Thanks for watching.